From early days in Grants Mountain, St. Anne, she defied odds with discipline and dedication, overcoming financial hurdles to pursue the dream of becoming a medical doctor and achieving honors along the way. How did she do it? My guest is medical doctor and former winner of the Governor General's Achievement Award for St. Anne, Dr. Tasha Campbell. I'm Archibald Gordon. This is Profile. Dr. Tasha Campbell, welcome to Profile.
Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Gordon.
Archie or Archibald is fine,
okay.
Please. Archie more than Archibald, but either is fine.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming to share your story. I have quite a story and I want to share it with our viewers, although you'll be in some reform because you'll be giving us a little bit more detail and filling in some of the gaps as well. But you're a medical doctor. We've had a couple of doctors on Profile today alone from Grants Mountain, that's in St. Anne.
Right, that's in
and you've overcome different kind of challenges to excel, including working in your community. Went to St. Hilda's High, Herbert Morrison Technical High, recognized for your different academic accomplishments with awards such as the Governor General's Achievement Award, and completed a Bachelor of Medicine, a Bachelor of Surgery degree with honors in obstetrics and gynecology from the University of the West Indies, and currently serving as Senior House Officer at Savlamar Public General Hospital. And your story just fascinating because it embodies perseverance, gratitude, and a dedication to achieving your dreams, but also working with your community. When you listen to what you've been able to achieve so far, how do you feel?
Well, I feel relieved.
Why relieved? That's a very particular word.
Well, as I mentioned before, because of the challenges that I had to go through, so being at a point now where certain hardships aren't necessarily there anymore, so I would say I'm a bit more relieved now.
All right, let's talk a little bit dig into some of those challenges. First of all, Grants Mountain, not a community that a lot of people might know about. So first, tell me about the community itself. Okay,
so Grants Mountain, it's a small, deep rural community in St. Anne. I mentioned that it's very small, so we have the community members, they're closely knitted and so forth. And so, if one person hears something, as with most communities, but the smaller it is, that it will spread quickly. So, but it's a community where predominantly farming is what is done there mostly. But I'd say they look out for each other and, they try to encourage each other as well.
Now, we grew up in particular kind of circumstances. Your family, farming was their main activity. What were they doing exactly?
So my parents, they operated as small-scale farmers. I'm not sure if you know, but with farming, it's kind of so unpredictable. My parents, they normally farm crops like cabbage, carrot, and of course you want to do it within a short space of time so that we can get money. So we normally choose crops that are it doesn't take long to see the produce. And you say there were challenges in them being able to actually do this. Was the unpredictability of the nature of farming the chief reason for that? Well, that was a reason, but with farming, you actually have to have a startup cost to buy the seeds for the cabbage seeds and so forth, the carrot seeds. And so sometimes the problem was just we don't have the money to do a startup. And then, as you mentioned, the other challenges would have been the external factors, so the drought or too much rain or so forth. Now, this was what was happening as you were going to school. How did it affect your schooling? Okay, so being that farming was the only means in which income was generated, my parents, they don't normally always have it to send me to school. So what what they would do, they sacrificed all that was humanly possible. They gave me, all that they had. And for all of that, I'm very much eternally grateful. But there came a point where there is so much, like, there is nothing more else you can do. And so that's when I realized that, okay, my parents gave me all that they can. So I had to be smart enough to know that when I get my lunch money, I have to save from whatever it is that I can, because I could sense that there were rainy days ahead. So I definitely had to save for that, for those rainy days.
When you say rainy days, you mean days without food, days without any lunch money? What do you mean?
Well, days without lunch money, days without, bus fare, because it's a farming community, so it's kind of hard to not have food in a sense. Can always steam some cabbage or, cook a little yam or so. So food wasn't normally the problem. And so the days that I'm not going to have lunch money, I normally have to bring a little food thermos with the produce, my yam or steamed cabbage or, with some chicken and so forth.
You had to determine from early on how you would organize. Were your parents also talking you through that, saying, save a little money?
When it is that you have a dream and you want it so badly, so you're going to work towards it, and whatever challenge that you might see coming, you're going to want to eliminate that challenge as best as possible. So me realizing that my parents wouldn't necessarily or will not be able to always give me lunch money, I had to think that, all right, I have to find some other way that I can go to school and then maximize on my potentials and so forth.
So that meant that you were working very hard as a student.
Yes, I had to. There is no doubt about it. I had to, because growing up in poverty, I came to the realization that the only way to escape poverty is by maximizing on the potentials to get an education. And so there is no doubt that I would work very hard to ensure that I maximize on whatever potentials I had, because at the end of the day, I know what is it that I wanted, and so I worked tirelessly towards it. I want
to talk a little bit about how you, what you did and how you did it sort of at a practical daily basis. But we have to take our first break on Profile. My guest is Dr. Tasha Campbell, whose story of resilience and dedication, explains how she has become a medical professional, defying financial odds to achieve her dream of becoming that doctor. She's also a former winner of the Governor General's Achievement Award for St. Anne, and our conversation continues after the break.